At her best, Esther McVey remains one of the scummiest people in Parliament today, and that's not an easy title to keep hold of. Her actions and her decisions in the DWP between her and her predecessor have led to the deaths of countless people, averaging about 90 people a month die as a result of being forced back into work when they are not fit. And this includes people whose doctors are saying they are not fit to go back to work. So recently she was asked, given that the universal credit system is a monumental failure, why it just can't be reverted. Her response was, there are many reasons, but here are just some. The system it was built on was flawed. That's not a reason to keep the current system. If you know it's flawed and it's not fit for purpose, don't use it. This is someone who is in the government, who has an untold number of wealth at her back. It's not difficult when you have the resources to make a system that works. The old system locked people on certain benefits. Well, actually, it locked people on benefits if they didn't have the resources to be told that they were on the wrong benefits and they could be entitled to something else. A lot of times something better. But that's what social workers were working for. That's what caseworkers were working for. And the fact that a universal credit system that they have now is an improvement on that is moronic. So many people who were entitled to certain benefits that paid a little bit more have now got less, whether it's £30, whether it's £40. And when you haven't got much to begin with, losing an additional £30 or £40 is unbelievably devastating. The world is different. The systems have changed. Yes, they have. But it doesn't negate the fact that the previous system we had worked better than the system we have now. So while going back may be a pain, it's certainly an improvement on what we have now. And if you can improve upon that system, rather than forcing universal credits onto people who are the most vulnerable, surely that's what you should be doing as a public servant. Last one, probably my favourite one. Universal credit is flexible and it helps people get into work and work programs. Well, here's the thing. Flexible depends on what you mean by flexible. If you mean that it's more improved, it's more streamlined, and it can help you get council tax, child allowance tax, and things like that, additional benefits that you are entitled to but don't know you're entitled to, then no, that's not what universal credit does. If you mean it's a great way of taking even more money from people who don't have a lot to begin with, then yes, that's what it does. And in terms of getting people back into work, it seems like she is stuck with this Victorian mentality of the poorhouses. When we look back in history and we look at the poorhouses, we don't think they were so horrible, so no one wanted to work and it was great. We see them as what they were. A disgusting stain on British history, and how stupid were the people for believing that that was the way. Yet that's the mentality that Esther McVey has. As I've said, she doesn't act as a public servant, which is what she is employed to do. This is a woman who has never really known hard times. She's a multi-millionaire, and yet she tells the rest of the country that we need to live within our means, when she's getting countless tax breaks, exploiting countless tax loopholes, and constant subsidies for her living expenses from the taxpayers. She's telling the rest of us that it's right families are living in poverty, that children are dependent on food banks, and that people who are on universal credits are more encouraged to work because of the broken, destructive system that is hurting the UK. It is high time Esther McVey stepped down and someone who is nothing at all like her or her predecessor actually took the job to serve the people.